Let's bring in Andrew McKellar now, Chief Executive of the Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Andrew, good morning and thank you very much indeed for your time. Ostensibly, this looked like a budget to offset the cost of living crisis. What was in it for business, though, especially the SMEs that are facing similar pressures?
Well, hi, Sri. Good to be with you. Look, as you say, the focus in the budget, I think, very much was on trying to alleviate cost of living pressures, much less emphasis on business overall. Some things specifically targeted to small business. So they're probably the lead item, as we would see it, is energy cost relief, up to $650, probably touching about 1 million small businesses in total. So I think that's helpful. There are other measures in terms of investment encouragement, an instant asset write-off, which applies for small business investments up to about $20,000. There's some encouragement as well in terms of extra deductibility about energy efficient investments. So look, not a huge package, not a huge focus on business. I think more at the margins. It's really a case of the government trying to get the balancing act right between providing a bit of relief on cost of living and getting the budget more broadly back into shape.
Got it. So, Andrew, we have to be especially cognizant of the kind of environment that we are in and heading into potentially recessionary waters for the global economy. What then is needed on the policy fronts, on the monetary side, on the fiscal side, when it comes to employment and the structural mix, if you will, to really crisis-proof the Australian economy and Australian business as best as we can?
Well, I think the overriding priority from here is to continue that work, not just to have a surplus in this financial year, but to improve the structural position of the budget out into the medium term. And if we look at what's projected at the moment, within 2 years, we're projected to be back into deficits of about $35 billion a year. So that needs to be further addressed. We need to obviously focus on how we can address the expenditure side of the budget. We don't want new taxes being relied on. Tax revenues have certainly boosted the coffers very healthily in the current year. But it's that medium-term reform that's got to be focused on now.
Andrew, the corporate tax rate, the federal tax rate, correct me if I'm wrong, is 30%. Is that too high? Does that need to be reconsidered?
Well, it is something that needs to be addressed. So I think here Australia is certainly not at the front of the pack when it comes to corporate taxation. So we would certainly say that this is an area where there's been some relief at the lower end of the chain. We've got to start to move that up to medium-sized enterprises and ultimately get the rate as a whole adjusted right through the chain. We have to focus on what will make Australia a much more attractive destination for international investment. So tax reform, it's been a long while since it's been attempted really by either side of politics, but it is something that needs to be put back on the agenda, for this government, either in this term or in its next term of office, should they be re-elected.
Andrew, just a quick line on the RBA, if you can. Are rates now firmly in restrictive territory, and is it time for the RBA to consider a pause?
Well, certainly the interest rate increases that we've had, 11 in total since early last year, they have had an impact on activity. I think our assessment is that it is time to pause. They did that the month before last, then last month again another 25 basis point increase. I think the real test for the success or otherwise of the budget that's just been brought down is, will it be seen by the Reserve Bank to be doing enough to take the pressure off inflation? Is there any risk that it will assess that it might be adding to inflation? If that's the case, if we do see further interest rate increases, in the coming months, then I think we'll have fiscal policy and monetary policy potentially pushing against each other. That's a situation we want to avoid.
Andrew, just quick thoughts on the increase in defence spending. Another 4 billion Australian dollars added to the tax bill. Did that look? I mean, that's a nod to the geopolitics of our region, clearly, but did that look like something of a misallocation of resources to you? If that spend is going to go towards arguably US and French contractors for the submarine program on the Quad defence initiative, is that money going to be spent at home?
Well, I think it's a very important expenditure. We've been through a significant defence strategic review. So I think it points to the fact that we do need to modernise and reshape our defence expenditure. You mentioned, the geopolitics in the region that can't be ignored. So I think from that point of view, business is very supportive of the fact that there are significant changes in the posture that are required and significant new investments in the different platforms that defence operates with, including the submarines. We do have the Quad meeting here later this month. So, look, I think there's a strong understanding that is an important part of the budget.
Andrew, thank you very much indeed for those insights. We'll wrap it up there, sir. Andrew McKellar there from the Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Quick break here on the programme. Back in 2 minutes.